Welcome, and on this episode of Air Capital Hot Rod Garage, we're going to install an intermediate steering shaft on our 2006 Chevy Silverado. Part number is 425176. This is a Dorman part. Got this off of Amazon, about $70. So, problem is, you get this clunky steering wheel when you're driving. It's really annoying. Doesn't really affect driving much, but it's just feel like crap. I've had this is my second Silverado and had a Suburban had to do this on. So this is the third time I've done this job. The tools that you're going to need are a ratchet, 3/8 inch, 6-inch extension, 3/8 extension, a 15mm socket, 13mm socket, 10mm socket, a 13mm wrench, possibly a 15mm wrench depending on how your steering wheel is orientated and how the bolts put in. I used a screwdriver and a punch just to help line up things, and there's my set of ratchets. If you look up under the dash, there's your gas pedal, there's your brake pedal. So you look up under the dash and you see that bolt right there. My steering wheel's straight, by the way. No, it's slightly turned. So you see that bolt. We're gonna have to take that bolt out, and there's another one on the in the engine compartment we're gonna take out. So I'm gonna get that bolt out. All right. So there's that bolt you need. There's also a nut on the back side of it. So what you do is you take your wrench and you put it, kind of snake it up, back over behind the gas pedal up onto that nut. Then take your ratchet. Got a 13mm socket. The wrench is a 15mm wrench. Got a 6 and a 3-inch extension. And then start loosening that up. Okay, then down on the inside, underneath the hood, there's your steering shaft. Right here, there's the bolt. Luckily this one has a captured nut kind of right there, so 15mm wrench, and you can see how that nut's gonna not have to have a wrench on it since it has that little tab. But go ahead and take that off and I'll be back. Alright, so got the nut out, or the bolt out. Now got to get the shaft out. Okay, so basically here our steering shaft is disconnected from the lower shaft. There's not any room to pull this into the passenger compartment, so on an 06 at least, there's this boot. It has to be unbolted. I don't remember doing this. I had an 05 and 04, so I don't remember this boot. Maybe the other ones do. So we're going to take that off. Looks like a couple 10mm nuts. Alright, so once you get all of those nuts taken off, you just pick this up and easily slide it down. Get into this lower right nut looking backwards or towards the firewall. That bolt right there, or nut, kind of pain to get to. So now we're just going to swap the actual shaft out and put it back together. Alright, so I slid the intermediate shaft down to the lower shaft. It's pretty tight in here, kind of wiggled. Got it wiggled enough so you can just barely see the bolt hole there. So I'm going to use a screwdriver here to kind of help pry it down a little bit more. Hopefully I can get a little bit bigger tool in there. A punch. No, not quite yet. See if I can get my bolt in there now. Yep, look at that. Put my nut on. Okay. So I'm gonna leave that loose. This boot is loose. Now we gotta go on the inside of the cab and connect the other one. Alright. So I come in here. There's our intermediate shaft pointing right at us. It needs to go up in there. I'm not going to be able to do this one-handed. So should just slide right up into that upper shaft and then put the bolt and nut on. Alright, got that all lined up. Make sure your steering wheel is pointed straight and then put the bolt in. Alright, got the shaft bolted in underneath the steering wheel. Now I'll come back here, tighten that bolt, and then the 3 nuts that install and 3 bolts that hold the boot on, and then we'll be done. Alright, and that's how to install an intermediate steering shaft on your Silverado, Suburban, GMC, half-ton anyway. Took me about a half hour to do. Well, spending a lot of time videotaping. Should be able to do it in about 15 minutes if you're not messing with the camera.